The killer didn't enjoy the stabbing, he enjoyed the begging, and on a quiet Sunday morning in Nebraska, a 13-year-old paperboy found out why. September 18th, 1983, began like any other Sunday in Bellevue, Nebraska. 13-year-old Danny Everly woke before sunrise to complete his paper route, a job he had held for 2 years. He knew every driveway and every house where the tip was generous. His father Leonard heard the garage door open and close, a sound he had heard hundreds of times. By mid-morning, phone calls started coming in. Several homes had not received their Sunday paper. That had never happened. Leonard got into his car and retraced his son's path. He found the bicycle propped against a fence. The remaining newspapers were still stacked in the basket. Danny was gone. For 3 days, searchers combed the fields and gravel roads outside Bellevue. They found Danny in tall grass 4 miles from where his bicycle had been left. His body told a terrible story. He had been stripped of his clothing. An unusual rope bound his hands and feet. Surgical tape covered his mouth. 9 stab wounds marked his body, some shallow as if the killer had been experimenting. Human bite marks were also present. The medical examiner determined Danny was conscious for several minutes before death. The quiet suburban town realized the truth. This was not a runaway. A predator was hunting children, and he had done this before. John Jubert's path to violence began in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Born July 2nd, 1963, he was 4 years old when he witnessed his father choke his mother unconscious. The memory never left him. After his parents divorced, his mother moved him and his sister to Portland, Maine. They lived in a cramped apartment where tension never left. His mother demanded perfection and offered no praise. At school, John's small size made him a target. Bullies called him Juju B and shoved him in hallways. He never raised his hands to defend himself. A teacher noticed he absorbed every attack silently, as if he believed he deserved it. By age 11, John Jubert's dark thoughts took on a new shape. He no longer imagined random chaos. Instead, he pictured controlled scenes where he tied people up and watched their fear grow. Later, psychiatric reports revealed the truth. The violence itself did not excite him. The begging did. The moment a victim realized escape was impossible. On the outside, John performed normalcy well. He joined the Boy Scouts and earned badges. He played clarinet in the school marching band. He delivered newspapers on a route of his own. He spent quiet afternoons building model airplanes. No one saw what lived inside him. December 1979 marked the shift from fantasy to action. 6-year-old Sarah Canty played outside her Portland home and dropped her football. As she bent to pick it up, a teenager on a green bicycle rode past and jabbed a pencil into her back. He never looked back. Weeks later, college student Vicky Goff greeted a young man on a dark sidewalk. He responded by grabbing her, covering her mouth, and stabbing her side. She survived. 2 months after that, 9-year-old Michael Witham approached a teenager who called out to him. The boy slit his throat with an X-Acto knife. Michael survived with 12 stitches. Police saw no pattern. August 22nd, 1982 changed Portland forever. 11-year-old Ricky Stetson kissed his parents goodbye and went for an evening jog around Back Cove. He never returned. A woman driving across the Tukey's Bridge the next morning saw a body in the grass below. Ricky had been strangled and stabbed. Someone had tried to remove his clothing. Bite marks covered his leg. Police arrested a 24-year-old man, but his teeth did not match the wounds. After 18 months, the case went cold. The real killer was gone. John Jubert had enlisted in the Air Force and was now stationed at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska, hundreds of miles away. September 18th, 1983 started early for John Jubert. He had been setting his alarm for weeks, deciding each morning whether to hunt. This time he got up. He spotted Danny Everly on his paper route and approached with a knife. One hand covered the boy's mouth, the other held the blade. Danny had no choice but to follow. Jubert drove him to a remote road where the boy's gag slipped. Danny asked if he was going to die. Jubert looked him in the eyes and said yes. The boy pleaded and promised silence. He begged for a hospital. Jubert paused. Then he convinced himself Danny would talk. He did not stop stabbing until the boy was gone. December 2nd, 1983 brought another disappearance. 12-year-old Christopher Walden left his Papillion, Nebraska home for a short walk to school. He never arrived. 2 days later, hunters discovered his body in a grove of trees 5 miles from town. The scene was different from Danny Everly's. Christopher's throat had been cut so deeply that he was nearly decapitated. 7 stab wounds marked his stripped body. There were no bindings this time, no tape. Jubert had killed quickly, perhaps because Christopher fought back. The killer was escalating. His methods were changing. Parents across the Omaha area lived in fear. Then a preschool teacher did something that would end everything. January 11th, 1984 started like any other day at a Bellevue preschool. A teacher noticed a man sitting in a car watching the children. Her instincts told her something was wrong. She walked toward the vehicle and wrote down the license plate number. The man exploded out of the car, shoved her hard, and threatened to kill her. She broke free and ran. Police traced the plate to a rental car signed out to 20-year-old Air Force radar technician John Jubert. A search of his room revealed a length of military-issued rope. The FBI confirmed it matched the rope binding Danny Everly. Jubert confessed immediately. He told investigators he was relieved they caught him. He said he could not stop himself. Nebraska sentenced John Jubert to death. Maine gave him life in prison for Ricky Stetson's murder. He spent over 12 years on death row. He read Freud and Hemingway. He lifted weights to pass the time. He taught himself to draw. The drawings were not landscapes or portraits of family. They were violent scenes featuring young boys. Criminal profilers who examined them said his fantasies had not faded. They had sharpened. On July 17, 1996, at 12:01 a.m., Jubert walked into the execution chamber. He was 33 years old. 28 minutes later, he was pronounced dead. He once told a reporter that power and control thrilled him most. The look in a child's eyes when they understood they would not escape. That was what he lived for.